Hello everyone. I welcome you all to the second episode of our podcast Samvad Heroes Next Door. Our guest for today is a vibrant creative girl with goals whose one major goal is food blogging. Let us welcome Samruddha Patil, a famous food blogger from Pune, and listen to her exciting experience. Hello Samruddha, a very warm welcome to you on our podcast, episode 2 of Samvad Heroes Next Door. I hope you are excited as much as I am.
Thanks for inviting me, Vallari. This is a great opportunity to connect with you, and I can't wait to talk to you about everything and very excited.
Great. So, moving ahead, Samruddha, tell us what made you choose food blogging as your profession.
To be honest, it was more of a thing which happened to me rather than me choosing it. It was something maybe I had a drive for, and I just started with writing reviews on Zomato, and that was something I used to do for my hobby. And then that translated to photography, which led me to Instagram, and one thing led into another. Now I've been creating content on different platforms for the past 3 years, and I've never looked back since. So maybe it is just something which I was made for, which I realized really late. But I'm glad I did, and I am having like the best time of my life right now.
I think that is really inspiring, Samruddha. So, moving ahead, I would like to ask you a question in particular. So, what do you think, according to you, are the qualities that make a successful food blogger?
Okay, so first of all, you need to be a die-hard foodie for it, and you should have the appetite and the craze to just explore new things, because there were many cuisines which I was so skeptical about even trying. But because of my food blogging journey, I have tried everything on the face of earth, and there are still so many cuisines I yet need to try. But the specific skills for a food blogger, if you ask me, is the quality to express how exactly are you feeling when you're eating something, because only then the person whom you're writing for, or the audience whom you're writing for, can actually picturize what exactly it feels to have that or to eat that. So from all the 100 qualities which actually a food blogger needs, this one is something I think which is the first one, and which connects you to your audience. So this is something which is really very important.
And just in addition to this, if you are a new food blogger and you are just starting out your journey as a food blogger, what are the basic things you might require to start your presence socially?
That's a really good question, because people overcomplicate things while just starting out. So, the basic three things which you actually need is a very good uh, command on any language which you are starting with. It can even be any regional language if you want to write your content in. So, command over the language is something which I think is the most basic prerequisite. The second one is basic photography skills, because only then can you show your audience visually what exactly you have tasted, right? And the third and the most important thing is being consistent with your goal, because many people are really good photographers, they are really good content writers, but they don't produce content on a regular basis, which I think is makes or breaks your page. So that those are the 3 points which you should definitely keep in mind.
Well, whatever points you just suggested, I hope so the listeners are making a point of that. So, moving ahead, Samruddha, when we approached you, we researched a bit about you and we got to know that you have started your own venture named Abzet Media. So, we would like to do some more digging over it. So, can you share something more about it?
Yeah, so basically, all like everybody who has seen my social media or who know me, like this is something which I'm doing, they always have this question, but what do you do to earn? This is something, okay, fine, you're doing food blogging, you're doing visiting places, but what exactly do you do for your income? So, this exactly answers the question. Avzit Media is my digital marketing agency, which I started roughly 1.5 year before. Uh, and we have like more two partners to it. So we are three co-founders. And how exactly Absit Media came into being is I met Ajinkya on one of the food blogging tables, and we were actually working as freelancers for all these skills like a social media manager, a content writer, and a digital marketer. So instead of going out and searching for each individual project, we got together, formed this company, right from the legal documents to actually hiring people and to starting like taking meetings for new clients. That's how we started, nervously but surely, that we wanted to go forward. And even that time, not to take a huge leap, I was even working as a content writer back then. And simultaneously, we had started the building of Avzit Media as well. And that's how Avzit Media came into being, because there are a lot of people who knew me as a food blogger, and they had extended requirements after that as well, like managing social media or making their presence on social media more prominent. And that's how we actually started with Avzit Media.
Samruddha, you mentioned a point, as in like people do ask us like how much do you earn? So a question bit related to that. When you start your career as a food blogger, what aim should you have in your head in respect to money? Because it's like it is definitely a slow moving profession and you do not kind of jump into it and start earning great. So what point would you mention, uh, what message or emphasis would you like to give on this?
That's also a really great question, first of all, because many a times people are driven by their passion. But obviously, every passion needs to be backed up with monetary things, because if you want to continue that for the long period of time, you need to see where the money is coming in, right? So, for this, what exactly you should think about that, definitely you have to keep a lot of patience, but maybe you won't start earning from the pictures you're posting or the reviews you're putting out. You would earn, but that would be like a very small percentage, which is really not sustainable. Like if you want to live a good lifestyle, but saying that, you also have great skills, like now if you write captions and all, and you take pictures for your social media, like for your page. So now you have two skills here: one is content writing and second is photography. So you can upscale these skills with some courses, or you can just like research more about it and finish your skills, like give it a more better finish to it, and then you can start doing job for that respective thing, right? Or you can start working as a freelancer as well. So at the end, it's all key how much you want to do it. Like if I am a food blogger, I can't expect all of my income to come from my social media page. I have to go out and search for other things where my skills will be needed. So it's just like any other job, that you have to keep upgrading yourself. You have to be very relevant in the market, first of all. And I think that's the key. You just have to find what exactly connects to you, and content writing connects to me. That's why, along with my social media, I was even doing content writing, which worked really well with, because I was loving what I was doing, and it also was increasing my skills as a blogger. So you need to find a middle ground there.
Well, just like you mentioned, upgrade is something that pushes us ahead more to achieve greater things in life. So a bit of more upgrade to you on the next question, and it is quite interesting as well. Like the COVID-19 crisis has made us sit home. So my question to you is like during all this crisis going on outside, how are you currently working as a food blogger?
So actually, this period has acted as a blessing for me, first of all, because obviously there are many times when I actually want to step out of my house, go to a restaurant, take pictures, and be like it is a normal day of my life. But I'm really telling you, Valari, it is so fascinating for me that there is so much content with me which I've literally not paid attention to during all these years, because it was always like, ठीक है अभी ये हो गया, then next thing, and it was always like the best of content was left because there were just deadlines to be met and other things to do, because the city has everything new every day, and that is like overwhelming for us if we don't put up the latest thing or the most thing which is talked about. And because of that, some regional dishes which we can actually speak about, or some homemade things which should actually be like paid attention to, those are not done. And I'm really telling you, from the last 4 months, I'm just putting out content which is delivered to my house, or the content which I'd already shot like all these 2-3 years. And I am sure that almost for more 3-4 months, I have a lot of content which I can work on. So definitely it has changed our life and we miss all those regular days. But I think just to see the silver lining is something which I always believe in any situation. So that has worked out really great for me. And this situation actually encouraged me to make a bit different kind of content, which is more textual driven content, which is more relatability content. And I think that has changed and increased my scope as a food blogger. So I definitely take this as a boon. This whole period is like a blessing for me.
Well, actually, I'm really happy to, find somebody who's not criticizing about the lockdown and the coronavirus. It is because I have seen people, they are just sitting home and complaining, oh, I wish if I could go out and do this and that. But definitely a point to be taken into consideration that even sitting home, we can appreciate many things in life. So moving ahead, Samruddha, uh, we all know you are marching towards the 20,000 followers goal on the Instagram page of yours. So was there or is there any particular moment in your food blogging journey till now which made you super proud of your career choice?
So basically, when I started out, if I be like very brutally honest with you, I never thought that what it's gonna give me, like in terms of money, in terms of any other thing. But like there are many moments when I can actually feel the difference, that if I had made a academic choice over this choice, I wouldn't have experienced this moment. The first of all, the moment which I clearly recognize, like still as if it was just yesterday, is when I was just like I had gone for a trek with my friends, and like there's a fort in Pune itself where I had gone for a trek, and there were a bunch of youngsters, boys, who were just trekking. Like they had another group, and they just like they were looking at me, and I actually didn't recognize them because I didn't know them. And then they went up and they again climbed down, and I'm like, they asked me, "Are you Ven in Pune?" And that moment was like, okay, but how do you know me? And then they showed me their like my page, and they're like, we just went up because we were not getting signal so that we could actually see your photo, and we just confirmed it. And they told me your page is so good, and we are so glad we could meet you. And that moment was like something else for me. I literally had goosebumps that time. I didn't even know how to talk to them or how to interact with them, and I was so happy, but at the same time I was so overwhelmed actually. And those moments have repeated again and again, even around Pune. And one of the moments is when I we had completed like 1 year anniversary for Avzit Media, and we had called all our friends, family, and followers who are like really close to us. And my mother gave a speech about how proud she was and how she always wanted to open her own business, but she couldn't because she wanted to like she had all family responsibilities and stuff. And that was the first time my mom actually said that she was proud of me. And I think for a 24-year-old, that is something which we actually aim for our parents to be like really proud of us. And I think those two moments are something which really have changed my perspective towards my career as well. I've become more serious, more focused about my career. And definitely, I feel that we have a responsibility for all our audience, however small or however big they might be. So, that is definitely a driving force for me, my family, and my audience.
Well, that's really nice, Samruddha. You're mentioning all the followers, who are following you on your Instagram page and giving them a kind of recognition that because of them, you are moving ahead towards achieving your goals. A kind of a question I might like to ask you on this is, we have, just like you mentioned, that your Instagram handle name is When in Pune. So, how did you come up with such a quirky name?
So it was like you won't even believe that I am the most overthinking person when it comes to branding, because I always overthink that this name is gonna be with me forever. And like I have to choose a good name, a perfect name which fits everything. But When in Pune was very effortless. It was just like a conversation which I was having with one of my friends. And that time I just thought, okay, I tell people what to eat when they are in Pune. And that's how I actually came up with it. And that time I like didn't really think about it, and I just went ahead with it. And that has really like बहुत लोगों के दिमाग में रह गया है वो नाम. And I'm very glad for it, because that's how a brand name should be. It should be something different so that people remember it. And that's how I actually came up with the name. It was very effortless, but then I later realized that it had like many benefits to it.
Okay, moving ahead, Samruddha, this might be a really difficult question to you. It's just like you mentioned, like you are having a community of food blogging in Pune now, and you are a part of it. So, as like you said, you need a branding for your own self. So, can you name three of your most favorite food bloggers and why do you like them?
That is indeed a very difficult question, because you have no idea. There are so amazing creators out there, like even in my city, other cities outside India. And because of the lockdown, I am discovering new things every day, like new type of content creation, new type of art every day. So to narrow down, I definitely think one of the food bloggers which I would like to mention is Hunger Nation, because he and me have literally started at the same period of time. And it like we know how much we have grown since day zero. So that is something I would really like to give him a shout out for it. He's doing amazing with his photography. Then the second name which actually comes to my mind right now is maybe Bombay's Foodie. So she is not from Pune, but I love her page. It's so effortless, and she always comes up with these recipes. She's so hardworking, and I definitely think she's gonna go way ahead in future. And the third food blogger I would like to mention, who has actually put up food bloggers on a map, is Shivesh Bhatia. And he's also a YouTuber, and he has his own studio, and he is a baker. And if you just like go to his Instagram page, you'll just keep scrolling and scrolling on his page. So it's really good. And what I like about all these three food bloggers, it's very effortless, and it doesn't look like it's done for the gram. So that is something which I also like to portray on my page, that you don't have to be behind filters all the time. It's okay sometimes, but not all the times. Be a little realistic. And that's why I really connect to their content as well. And I think everyone who's listening should definitely check out their page.
Okay, Samruddha, moving ahead, a food blogger is known for having his different, like his taste buds. It's like the way he tastes food and talks about it or writes about it. It's like he's given credits for that. So the next question for you is, Can you tell us which sort of cuisines do you like the most to taste and write about?
So that is like a very difficult question because there are like so many cuisines, so many regions from where you get like these particular things. But definitely, if you like ask me one cuisine, and it's not even a real cuisine, but it is definitely Desi Chinese, because I can have Desi Chinese any time of the day, and in veg, non-veg, any form, because it is just perfect for Indian taste buds. It has the perfect amount of spice, it has the perfect amount of flavors, and still it has a little non-Indian touch to it. So you get everything in that one cuisine. And I'm definitely a Hakka noodles lover, so I will definitely go ahead with Desi Chinese for sure.
Okay. Moving alongside, food blogging is something which you're pretty much inclined towards. So it is like you have also shown interest in fitness as well as body positivity. So can you tell us something more about it?
So, if I talk about it, Valari, it is a very thought about decision, a very well planned decision for me. Because when I look back at my pictures now, I can not only see a lot amount of fat on my body or me looking less energetic, but it has changed my outlook towards others as well, like other people who are not as healthy, or other people who are really very healthy. So if I tell you that how exactly I started it, it would be very inappropriate, because even if I wanted to start it like very well planned and stuff, but when I actually started, I didn't put up anything about it, like almost for 6 months I didn't. And once it was a part of my routine where I couldn't live without working out, that's when I started talking about it to people. Because I knew if I started just like one day before and then I started preaching it, it would be really wrong, because I really don't know what I'm doing, right? So when I actually started, I worked on myself for 6 months. I started with basic things like literally walking in my society. And when I saw a difference of 13 kgs, that's when I started telling people what exactly I did, because that's what my followers also wanted. And I think my followers are the main people who are eating outside, who are maybe eating junk all the time. And that's why speaking about fitness gives me a sense of responsibility to maintain a balance in the world which I am creating. So when I started talking about fitness and body positivity, that's when I actually realized that how much unhealthy choices even I was making, and how much unhealthy choices people make on a regular basis and they don't even realize it. So just to find a balance between extreme fitness and to find a balance between eating mindlessly is my effort on my page. So I don't want to do something that don't eat anything, just concentrate on your diet and your activity. But definitely I want to tell people that even if you're eating something which is junk, understand how your body is reacting to it, because that will make a lot of difference when you're having the same dish the next time. And it's all actually on your mind, it's not even about how much strength your body has. And even I'm learning every step of the way. It's been almost like 1.5 year to this whole thing, but I'm still learning every day, and I still go back and eat junk, but I come back again on my fitness journey. So I think that's how you learn. You just fall 7 times and get up 8 times. That's how it has to be, so that you actually maintain a balance. Otherwise, you'll just be overwhelmed by everything, and you won't be even happy with yourself, even if you're exercising every day. So, that is the exact message which I wanted to put out through my page when I started including fitness into my account as well.
Samruddha, now you have just told us that you are very much into fitness, and it took you a long time to walk on this path, because definitely getting a fitter body is not a one-day job. So, do you have any particular body positivity icons or somebody whom you follow on Instagram and are very inspired by them?
So, I will definitely talk about Style Me Up with Sakshi. She is a Delhi based fashion blogger, and she might be like maybe two times or three times heavier than us, but she is 10 times and maybe 100 times more positive about her body. And she literally tells people why exactly it is important to love your body how it is, but at the same time, she doesn't promote being unhealthy, which I guess is a very important message. Because right now, what people are doing is they are just telling about body positivity, but they are not giving equal attention on why body positivity is required or what is body positivity. So body positivity is not that being unhealthy or lazy or lethargic and then saying that I love my body how it is. It's trying to change your body to become a fitter version of yourself, like working with your body, having patience with your body, and then still loving it through that whole process, and even loving it afterwards. Because I know for a fact that your body is something which you can't be away from, or you cannot be a different person than your body. You actually have like always be with yourself, and that's the one place you have to keep clean, even with your mind, with your body, everything. So Style Me Up with Sakshi definitely comes up with so many great outfits, so many great ideas where actually she speaks to you like a friend, that why you are perfect and why you need to change, but it is on your own time, at your own judgment. So that is a creator which is definitely I look forward to, and I always enjoy her content. It's really very light and very relatable.
Well, that is really nice. And I definitely can give you a heads up that the people listening to us right now will go and check her content out as well. Samruddha, moving ahead, you have a decent, I might not say decent, but a really great number of followers. And at times it happens that social media kinds of, is a medium through which hate comments or, some sort of bad publicity is being done against the people who have that number of followers. What is your take on that?
So that is like I'm actually very surprised with the number of hate comments like creators get, but I definitely understand more the following, more the chances of and more vulnerability of all these hate commenters. But what I would like to say right now is they are just viewers, and they are just sitting at their place and they're watching your content, and then it's very easy to just sit and comment your judgment, very easy. But to actually just take up the camera, shoot what is on your mind, and maybe you can be a dancer, or you can be a singer, you can be maybe a stand-up comedian, and to comment on their content is very easy. But for them to actually come up with the content is really very difficult. So all the creators who are listening to this podcast, I would like to say that you are a person who is doing all those things, and the person who is commenting is not taking even 1% of the efforts to what you have done. So I think that should be a distinguishing point for you, first of all, that how much importance you should give to these haters. And the second point that I actually want to tell the creators is understand the difference between criticism and hate. Because criticism, if you ignore, it is bad for you. But haters, if you ignore, it's the best thing which you can do for your page. So to understand criticism is just see if there is a tinge of positivity in their comment, that I literally hated your content, but this is something which I think will work for you. That is a critical content, but again at a very like when the word hate comes in, it's like a huge emotion, it's a very negative emotion. So I think at the end of the day, for all the haters out there, I would like to say that just try to do at least 50% of what the creator is doing, and then comment on what you want to tell them. So even there are many creators who are at a very good level who I don't like I don't like the content, or I don't think that they deserve that level, which is my own thinking. But I don't go on their post and post all this, I just simply unfollow them. that is something which you can do. And instead of spreading negativity, it is much better to give a critical comment, because the creator will, if the creator is a really good person, they will actually appreciate your critical critical comment. So definitely the haters should not be entertained by creators, because that is something you're just giving them attention which they don't actually deserve. And that's my actual take on haters.
Well, Samruddha, it is absolutely right that we should always be getting constructive criticism from the people who are following us, and we should not pay attention to all sort of bad negativity comments or any sort of things that defame a creator. Should be entertained on any social media platform. Okay, the next question coming up to you is pretty interesting, and I think so it can be an idea generation to you ahead as well. If at all you are given a chance of four meals, that is a breakfast, a brunch, a high tea, and lunch, or even a dinner, which would be the places in Pune you would like to visit and make a video out of it if given a choice?
So, Valari, actually, you'll be surprised that when I had reached like 15,000 followers, I actually wanted to do this video. Like, if a person comes to Pune and they want to like eat during the whole day, which places can you do? And I was going to do it with my followers, like selected followers. So, definitely, I have thought about these places. So, for breakfast, definitely it would be Wahuman Cafe, which like perfectly portrays the Parsi culture with which Pune is influenced. So that is definitely my place for breakfast. Then for brunch, there is an amazing place. Like in on Sundays, the brunches are the best. So there is an amazing place called Independence Brewing Company, and they have amazing craft beers, and along with that, they do great brunch dishes. So that is the second place, like for brunch, if anyone asks me to take them, that is perfect, like a perfect place. Then something for the evening is where a person should be in Koregaon Park in Pune, because there actually you have all the beautiful cafes. The vibe of KP is totally different. So Buddha's Paradise is a very old place which we used to go during our college days, and we still go. So that is something where you could go for a coffee or some Chinese maybe. And then maybe if you want to go for a dinner, there are actually a lot of places in Pune, but I would like to mention Chang's, which is in Viman Nagar. Very value for money and a perfect place to go with your friends as well as your family. So I think that is the most quickest question which I've answered, because I always have these places on my mind. So yeah, that would be your guide to a perfect day in Pune.
Well, I think so. For a food guide, people should definitely DM you on your Instagram to ask, like, when in Pune, where we should go to eat when we are in Pune. Um, so, the other question I would like to come up with is, many a times, especially students, it's like you want to throw a party, or we all are like, very crazy behind having really picture perfect photographs. So, we always tend to overspend money. So, if at all you want to suggest a place in Pune which has some great interiors and which is pocket friendly, can you just suggest any three of the places?
So that is actually a lot. Like I get these kinds of DM a lot, because mostly on Fridays and Saturdays are the time when people actually want to go and just enjoy a bit. So there is definitely a lot of places, and I can't really think of any particular three places, but I'll tell you my favorites. So the first one is Local Gastro Bar, which has like multiple outlets all over the city, very pocket friendly, and it has like the best DJs in the city. Then the second place, which is again known for its Bollywood music, is Public U, which also has multiple outlets. It's in the malls. It has a independent own restaurant, and it is really good for people who want to party as well as enjoy some great music. So that is it. And the third one is actually for people who like just chilling with their friends with not much loud music, because I know there are people who want to go out, they want to just enjoy their mug of beer and they don't want to dance, they just want to chill and talk with people. So there is a place in again Koregaon Park called FN Good, also has a branch in Mumbai, and their branding and the offers which they have is so good that you will definitely visit there again and again. So these are the three places that should definitely not burn a hole in your pocket, and you'll have a great time there.
Uh, Samruddha, when it is Pune, people generally stereotype like Pune is equal to misal, which is, I think so, is definitely not done, because I guess the city has many other things as local, food to offer. So, what do you think, except misal is very famous in Pune, but the people outside Pune don't know about?
So actually, if you see about what exactly is famous in Pune, there are so many things. Like there is Mastani, which is like literally the concept of Mastani was thought of in Pune. So Mastani is something we should definitely try when you are in Pune. Then the second thing is our Shrewsbury biscuits. They have this particular taste of cookies which you will never like, you will not get it in any other city. And there are particular bakeries like Kayani Bakery where they just like get disappeared within hours of the bakery starts, and they have to keep making new slots for it. So Shrewsbury biscuit is definitely you should try when you come to Pune. And there are a lot of Maharashtrian dishes like thali peet, then there is dhapate, then there is sabudana vada, and a lot of other things which are specialities in particular areas of Pune. And for that, you should definitely check out my page. And here I'm shamelessly giving a shout out to my page. But yeah, Pune is definitely way more than Misal.
Well, I think so. The next time people do traveling to Pune, guys, please pay attention to all what she's saying, and you need to eat that and give her recommendations, because like she is the person who's giving a shout out to taste all these tasty things. Samruddha, moving ahead, the question for you is, we are a social media loving generation, and if you look out at any random person's Instagram profile, he mentions that he is a big time foodie. I'm like, sometimes it's a question like, how foodie are you? But still, they do mention about it. So what advice will you give to such enthusiastic foodies who want to take up food blogging, maybe, or definitely as their career, but are still hesitant to take it up?
Yeah, definitely. The point which you made is so important, that we are a social media loving generation. And that's why people can only see the perks of what you're doing. So maybe if you see my page, you'll just see that the number of PR packages which I'm getting, or the photo shoots which I'm doing, or what like the great brands like Pizza Hut or Domino's which I'm collaborating with. But the behind the scenes of all these is so much more, and it's so much tiring, that if a new person wants to actually take it, they just can't go by the social media that what are the perks or what are the results. They definitely should be prepared for the amount of work they have to put in during all these things. And if you are a person who is actually want to start a new food blogging page, I would definitely recommend you to actually do this virtually first, like at least for 1 month, where you're just keeping a Word file with all your captions and the pictures. And then, if you think that I can do this every day of my life for the rest of the years, then go ahead. Because I was a person when I started out, there was not much competition. So it was okay for us to like not be so serious about it. But right now, as you can see, there are so many food bloggers, and for that matter, all kinds of bloggers, right from fashion, travel, tech, every niche. So if you are starting in a era where there is already a lot of saturation, you need to see what is different in you. First of all, find your specificity and then go ahead with it. So because the world doesn't need yet another food blogger who is just like some another food blogger. You have to be different, you have to speak your own mind. And when you think virtually you are capable enough to create this type of content every day, then I wish you all the best, and all my guidelines are there for you, even on my page, even on my YouTube channel. And I definitely wish you all the best to start.
Samruddha, this might sound a bit selfish, but it is like, when we as normal people also go out to any restaurants and, we want to click pretty photographs of what things we are eating. Or even, at home when we try to, take a picture and put it on Instagram, like, okay, this is the dish I have cooked in the lockdown. But it seems to be of very poor quality or is just not that appealing as you guys do. So can you just give us some tips to get a good picture of our food just to put on Instagram or to share around?
That is actually a really honest question. And first of all, like many people think that if I have created something, it has to be picture perfect or it has to be Instagrammable. And I do understand that concern. Just like a few tips which will actually make a difference, and those are the few mistakes which actually people do, is they take their pictures where there is not much great lighting, or they take it during the evening time or the night time with flashes on, which is like the worst thing which you could do to a photo, because all that natural light has just vanished and you're just capturing what the flash is like actually projecting on the food. So definitely, if you want to like, and you can actually try this at home, taking a picture in the evening and taking a picture during the morning in natural sunlight, it will make a lot of difference. That's why all our shoots are planned during the morning and the afternoon, and literally after evening we don't do any shoots. So first tip will definitely be to click the pictures in natural light. And the second picture, what I think is the second tip for taking great pictures will definitely be that include a lot of colors around your dish. Like if you're making a chart, try adding red to it by adding pomegranate seeds, or yellow by adding more shave. And if you have a item which is like very dull or very monotonous, maybe like upma or shira which has just one consistency, try adding things which will increase its texture, like almonds or pistachios, which will make it look very rich. And try adding ingredients which you have actually made in the dish around the dish, and you can present it in a more relatable manner to people ki this is the ingredient which is used for this dish. And that will definitely get people talking about your capture.
Samruddha, you have been like, just as you said, it's been almost 3 years that you are food blogging in Pune. So besides Pune, have you ventured outside to, taste some things outside Pune as well?
So, travel has always been on my mind when I started with this page. And definitely, I have been to many other cities where I have captured food. So, Nashik is one of my favorites, and I go there every year because the street food just gets better with every visit, and the people in Nashik are so sweet and they tell you everything about their city. Then I have obviously been a lot of times to Mumbai as well, and the street food scenes there are crazy, like crazy good. So definitely Nashik and Mumbai are the places which I've gone. To move up a little north, I have definitely gone to Manali and Uttarakhand, and that place is very undiscovered in terms of their food, because people just know about momos and maybe the kava, but they don't know about many other things which the locals literally offer to you at their houses. And I definitely want to explore more of north because the cuisine there is very undiscovered, and which is actually a cuisine which many people should know. So those are actually the places I've gone. I've also been to south, but that was not really during the time when I was a food blogger. That was just like traveling with family. But that time too, I had discovered a lot of things. So I think it's a journey. So maybe if we talk like after 1 or 2 years later on the podcast, I might be like more talking about how to travel for food. Like if you want to taste some dish, how to go there or how exactly can you go there on a budget. So that's the perfect part about content creation. It surprises you every day and you are surprised by your own skills. So yeah, I have like a little bit like I have gone a little far from the question, but yeah, that is something I literally wanted to speak about.
Actually, it's just like you caught the nerve of the next question which I had ready for you. It was like, are you planning to, ever venture outside India as well?
So definitely, like if you ask a foodie that would you like to try cuisines from all over the world, they will always be ready and they'll always be excited. And same is the case with me because I think a lot of stereotypes, like you said, Pune is only known for their misal. Just like that, a lot of countries in the world are stereotyped that this is something which you get here and that's just what you get, and it's like bland food which you get or something like huge portions that you get. But I think when you actually go there, you have the independence to actually make a judgment for yourself that what exactly do you like there. And my all time favorite has been London because I really love the whole vibe, and I definitely want that to be my first trip outside India. So definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, I suppose a good English tea and some cakes and cookies are the best thing one person can have. And a last question to you, Samruddha. It's like, what are your future prospects regarding food blogging? Any exciting things that are coming around? We need to be, staying tuned for.
So, Valari, I've always been of the opinion that how can I increase the experience, or how can I make people relive the moment which I am living right now. So, even if you see my content, when I enter a restaurant, I actually take videos of how exactly the furniture is, or how do you feel when you actually enter. Like I'm opening the door and recording the whole ambience because I want people to know that when they enter there, that's how they are gonna experience everything. So if you, this was just a background for answering my question, answering the question which you asked me. So in my future prospects, I definitely want to be hosting more of food walks in Pune or maybe outside Pune, so that it's not only a experience which is just limited to Instagram or limited to YouTube. It is a experience where actually the followers can meet us, eat with us, and experience the story behind every stall or every old place which Pune has. And I think that is something everyone will love to as well, because they're going to interact with like-minded people, because all foodies will be there on the food walks. And I definitely want to make it like a regular thing in Pune, and I think people will definitely love this extended experience as well.
Well, Samruddha, really thanks. I mean to say, I thank you for, giving us your time and coming over here. It was indeed great to host you, and I do not have to say that, but you were a really splendid speaker. So, on behalf of Rotrack Club of Smart City Navi Mumbai, I really want to thank you for, giving your time and putting out such a great, informative conversation for we as well as all the listeners out there who are going to listen to this podcast. So, really, thank you very, very much.
I'd like to actually take this opportunity to thank you for making me talk about all these things, because it's just like when you talk about these things that you realize that you have come that far. So thank you so much. I had a great chat with you, and I'm looking forward to all the podcasts which you guys have in line.
And that was Samruddha Patil. And I hope the conversation was informative and indeed a view towards some unusual career goals. Stay tuned for more heroes in upcoming episodes. See you until next time.